Hey y'all, welcome back with another Death Stranding 2 on the beach video. Today, we'll be doing something a little different. As you can see here, I'm currently at the summit of the highest mountain in all of Mexico, and I'm going to show you how to get there. Now, I don't want to waste your guys' time, but there's a reason why this is a longer than usual video today, and that's because we'll have to take some extra steps to get to our destination. But if you're feeling impatient and want to move forward at your own pace, you can skip to this timestamp to get an idea for what we'll be doing. For everyone else, let's get started. First things first, let's head to the garage and pimp our ride. We're going to need 4 anti-grav units and 2 extra charged up batteries. We're going to want to make sure we have those spike tires for slopes too, because we're going to be pushing this off-roader to its limits. Next on the checklist is the gear we'll need to bring, which we'll be using to recycle into the materials to create a coffin board, which will only be possible after upgrading to postbox level 2 or higher. Full disclosure, I tried to replicate this on a much earlier save file, and I discovered that the amount of materials you receive from recycling items will vary depending on what stage of the game you're in, but the amount of materials you need will remain the same. Now, I can't account for what makes this difference, so if anyone has an answer, please let me know in the comments, as it's just kind of been bugging me. In the meantime, I'd suggest testing out what you can dismantle before we head off, as what I'm bringing may not be enough for you. You'll need 260 metals, 200 ceramics, and 30 chemicals for the coffin board, as well as an additional 200 metals to upgrade the postbox so that we can make the coffin board. Now, if you have a PCC level 3, you won't have to worry about that extra step. So with that out of the way, what I found worked for me was 8 sets of combat power gloves level 2 and 4 level 1 Baka skeletons. You'll also need a PCC that can be any level, and I'm going to bring some ladders and climbing anchors and whatnot, but those aren't really necessary for this trip. However, you might want to bring an extra Baka skeleton for yourself, as well as some absolute boots and climbing gloves. Don't forget to fill up on your blood bags either, because if we do take fall damage, it's going to get nasty. Last on the list is the Stabilizer Level 3 backpack upgrade to make those double jumps nice and smooth. But don't worry if you're missing this item, it's still possible to get by without it, it just might take a few extra tries. So without further ado, here's the path I've carved out for us that we'll be following. And if you zoom in, you'll see that lone stony pillar jutting out of the mountainside that will serve as our primary landmark. Now that we know where we're going, you're going to want to hop into the DHV Magellan and fast travel to the former geophysics research lab, as this will be our starting point. And with everything finally in order, let's lace up our mountain boots and roll out. We are going to be cruising through BT country here, but as long as you rest up in the shelter beforehand, you shouldn't have any problems. We want this to go as smoothly as possible, because it won't be long until things get bumpier than my hometown roads. And you'll see what I mean by that soon, but for now, let's just enjoy the ride. So now we're coming up on that solitary mountain that's just jutting out like a giant stony finger pointing us up. And that's exactly what we want to do, is just follow this path straight on up until we get to the top. So I'm just going to make a new save file here, just in case we do too much damage to the truck. We should be alright, but you know, sometimes you just want to play it safe. And now you can see what I mean about things getting a little rocky. Just as fast as we go up, we're coming crashing right back down. But that's alright, we'll get there. You know, all we're doing right now is spamming the jump button as much as we can, just looking for that foothold. You know, sometimes what you want to do is hold back on the stick to come away from the mountain as you land, keeping those front wheels up, and provide that extra leverage so we can keep jumping higher. But honestly, this is mostly just a process of trial and error, so don't give up. You'll get there. But you can see I've got some zip lines and ladders already up here, so feel free to use those. Not that one. But I'm going to create another save file now that we're up here, so we don't have to do it all over again later. This is the part where I should mention this is generally a one-way trip, so make sure you have another save file to come back to later. So you're going to want to try to position the off-roader as close to this as possible. It does not have to be exact, but you do want to get those two front wheels over this rock about 1/3 of the way up. And you want those two back wheels to have just enough space away from the invisible wall so that you can fit Sam through and shimmy your way up. You do not want it to be parallel, and you do not want the front wheels to have much space from the invisible wall. Only the back ones, because we're going to use those front wheels to trick the game into forcing us past them. So 2 tells that you're on the right track is when you exit the vehicle, you get launched over the hood. The second tell is that you get the climb prompt over the little rock behind the back tires, because as soon as you do, the game is going to want to propel you forward, and you just ride that momentum by hugging and facing the vehicle, shimmying your way upwards. The other trick is you're going to want to zigzag as much as you can, quickly pulling the stick side to side while pushing forward. And by the time you're at the front end of the vehicle, you turn left at the very end, and you should be past the wall. And just like that, we're on the other side. This part's really challenging though, so it might take you a few tries to get through, but don't give up. You can do it.
Come on, let's get this done.
But as you can see, this is a one-way trip unless you brought an extra PCC, level 2 or higher. If you have forgotten anything but do have that extra PCC, don't worry. Using the transponder, you can bring anything you need with you to the other side, because although your cargo gets lost in the beach jumps, everything you have equipped stays with you, including what's hanging off your tool rack, which means you can jump to a base, equip whatever you want to, and then dismantle those items on the other side just by fabricating a post box. It does take a little while, but you might find it a more convenient method of travel than going back through the way we came. Heads up, y'all. You're going to want to watch your step up here, so I'd recommend starting another save file again, because there are some deep holes you can easily slip and fall through if you're not careful. Trust me on that one, I know from experience. But if you follow this path here, you should be just fine.
Feeling good.
You're going to want to get a running head start here, and once you leap to the other side, just keep pushing forwards. The terrain will get a little bit funky, but just keep traversing through it until you reach this narrow path here that will take you to another section to climb over. For those of you wondering how I figured out how to do all this, I've just always enjoyed finding ways to break games and getting outside their parameters ever since I was a kid, you know? That's just something I've always found interesting and fun to do. And I also love platforming games like Mirror's Edge and To the Top that give you that rush and challenge you to Spider-Man your way up. Games where you have the freedom to make the map your playground, you know? And I think Death Stranding's landscapes offer a lot of new and fun ways to do that. Once again, you're going to want to get another running jump, but this time we'll turn to face the ledge, which will automatically catch and climb for us. Something else I just want to say is I didn't know this was going to work out. I just spent a lot of time throwing things at the wall until eventually something stuck. And sometimes that's all it takes. But I want to keep sharing the times where it does work with you guys, So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing that too. Coming up here, there'll be one last double jump. We need to clear the gap. And like I was saying before, the jetpack isn't necessary, but it does make our lives a lot easier for moments like these. And there we have it. We are almost home free. It's just a little bit further now, but the hard part's over. Although you are able to place ladders here, in most sections the game will tell you you're outside the permitted construction area. But I wanted to show you guys what happens if you do try to build your way up. You hit yet another invisible wall. This is where I had to get creative and come up with the coffin board strategy to push us through. And I can't even begin to tell you how many other methods I tried before discovering this one that worked. Maybe I'll add a blooper reel in another video, I don't know, but hey, I bashed my head against an invisible wall so you guys don't have to, because we don't gatekeep here. Anyway, we'll use this as another checkpoint to save before throwing our post box down, because sometimes it won't let you fabricate the coffin board on uneven ground. So now what we want to do is disassemble all the cargo we've brought along with us so that the materials can be recycled into the coffin board. Just remember, we will have to upgrade the post box to level 2 first. Keep in mind, any surplus of materials recycled will be stored in the private locker, in case you're wondering where they went. Now this part might take you a couple of tries, but essentially what you want to do is ride the coffin board up the cliff face and position yourself here so that when you exit the coffin board, you land on this ledge. Then attach the coffin board to your cargo, and once again, just shimmy-ya, shimmy-yay your way up the mountain until you get to the top. And there we have it. We have successfully climbed the Mount Everest of Mexico. Congratulations. So while we're up here, I'd like to issue a challenge for everyone. Starting with this mountaintop, I've scattered 4 cargo aid requests across the furthest outreaches of these lands, locations I'll be visiting in the next video where we explore the wastelands. And trust me, if you enjoyed this, you're going to want to see that one too. So subscribe to make sure you don't miss out. And whichever porters find these cargo aid requests will get a featured shout out in the next video. Good luck, and keep on keeping on. Also, I hit 1 million likes in game while filming this. That was pretty sweet. And one last thing, I just want to give a quick shout out to my 10 new subscribers. I know that number may seem small, but your support really does mean a lot to me, and I can't wait to show you guys what I'm working on next. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.